Good morning. I am Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams, and I'm joined here with my Deputy Borough President Diana Reyna, and we are happy to announce that some of our other friends here, Councilman Antonio Reynoso, who is the chair of the Sanitation Committee, as well as Peter Casamaya. Peter, the CEO of Citizen Committee. We also have Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board that's present as well. I'd like to commend Peter and the entire staff of the Citizen Committee of New York City, along with Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board, for their continued commitment to making Brooklyn and New York even greener and more sustainable. This is an important initiative for those of us here at Borough Hall. We are also looking into how do we have the same type of process here? How do we use some of the biodegradable waste in the right manner? And so this is thrilling for us. I'm thrilled that with all of your help, we are letting Brooklynites know about the importance of composting. And we're better to do this in Brooklyn, what I like to call the center of the universe. I want to thank the Citizens Committee for New York City for piloting Brooklyn's first grant program exclusively for residents. If anybody can lead the way, it comes to composting, Brooklyn, New York can do that. Together with the Brooklyn Swab, the Citizen Committee is awarding $15,465 to composting groups across Brooklyn from community gardens and schools. This is not only good for the environment now, since composting diverts food waste from landfills and provides rich organic soil that helps Brooklyn grow greener. But composting teaches our young people the importance of treating earth with care. As a state senator, I sponsored many of the community gardens that were located in our public school system, particularly over in the Wingate area, and it was a great experience for our young people. It's a great idea on Earth Day that we're making this announcement, but it's important that composting can be done every day of the year. I want to thank everyone for your help, and Brooklyn will become the composting capital of the globe. We are going to speak with DCAS as well as other community groups to see if we can put a composting bin here outside in front of Borough Hall and allow people to see that the borough of Brooklyn can lead the way as well as composting. During the summer months, we allow individuals to sit on the steps and listen to music and use Wi-Fi, as well as to enjoy the environment. We want to properly identify those items that are biodegradable, so those items can be separated and we can start the process of composting here. If we can marry the Wi-Fi generation with the composting generation, then clearly we will move the entire city and not the entire country in the right direction, and no better place than to do it here in Brooklyn, USA. And so, Peter, I want to thank you. The $15,000 will go a long way with so many small groups. As you see, if you look at some of the items that are needed, these are some of the basic things that can be purchased in your local hardware store, your local depot, and you can just start processing. Oftentimes, Brooklynites and New Yorkers believe this is a complicated process when it's not. The same rake you use to rake your leaves, the same shovel you use to dig a hole to plant a flower, and something that is probably historical in all of our lives, you can even use the little red wagon to move things around. So this is a great idea. This is a great way of really indicating how Earth Day is a place that we can make the earth a sustainable and a friendly place. And so I want to now ask Peter to say a few words, and then my Deputy Borough President Diana Reyna. Peter?
Well, thank you, Mr. Borough President, very much, and thank you. Thank you very much for being here today. Your presence as Borough President indicates how important this is to you and to your administration. We're very grateful that you choose to be here. Personally, Madam Borough President, I recall working with you on council, and the new chair of the Sanitation Committee, a young person recently elected to City Council in the largest city in our country with an extraordinary opportunity to make great changes in the greatest city in our country. What an opportunity for a new, young elected official to have, and I know he's going to do great things. You've hit the nail on the head. You've said the things that needed to be said. This is a modest amount of money. We need to do more. We will do more. But most of all, we thank those Brooklynites who are doing the hard work. Individual citizens who have taken this responsibility into their own hands, who recognize that government can't do it all. We have an individual, personal responsibility ourselves to improve our neighborhood, our block, our borough, our city, our country, and these citizens of Brooklyn are doing that, and they deserve our commendation, our thanks, and our gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Borough President.
Well, happy Earth Day to everyone. This is quite an extraordinary day where we just take a moment to pause and give back to Mother Nature. And what better way than to join Citizens Committee of New York City, who changes our lives on a daily basis, and we never take account for it. So I wanted to thank Peter and his team for really changing, being that game changer in New York City, where small grants go a long way. It's amazing what a block association, who doesn't have to be this conglomerate, nonprofit status, can do so much with so little. And this opportunity to be able to receive grants throughout the borough of Brooklyn through the great efforts of Citizens Committee allows the Borough President, in collaboration with Citizens Committee and our SWAB Advisory Board, which is the Solid Waste Advisory Board for Brooklyn. It's important that we commend the work of SWAB, whose volunteers come together on a monthly basis to talk about the importance of the different things we're doing to recycle, renew, and regenerate what would be any item that has the possibility of having a second life at hand. Nancy Walby and Ken Diamondstone are the co-chairs, and we welcome people who are interested in participating to call Borough Hall to contact Ask Eric. It is important that we understand how we have to contribute to the working mechanisms that allow for discussions such as this. This collaboration is an example of that. And one of the major things that we spoke to Citizens Committee about is the great block there is in understanding what is composting, because people think it's so complicated. And so, as you can see, the mere tools that you're able to purchase with a grant and engage a whole block, a household, children, from your very young to your golden year, teenage year population, everyone can get their hands dirty and give back to the earth. And to the environment. And so we commend the work. I want to thank our chair of the Sanitation Committee, who has done an incredible job. When we worked together, we sponsored what would be the start of a garden. And today, composting takes place there. But that was a lot that was derelict, that was perhaps ruined with what would be needles and remnants of a criminal past. Today, it's a flourishing garden that has transformed a corner, and where children and adults come together to enjoy a passive day in Los Ures, Williamsburg. And so with that, I'd like to call our chair of the Sanitation Committee in the New York City Council, Antonio Reynoso, council member.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Borough President and Mr. President. I just want to say that we started that garden with the help of Citizens Committee for NYC. They gave us a small grant, and we were able to clear the whole lot from weeds that were about 5 feet high, almost as tall as me, almost, but not exactly. Mr. President, long before you were an honorable, distinguished elected official, and long before you walked the beat in the streets here in Brooklyn, you used to do something very well, I heard. You used to talk trash. And I'm glad that history is back in Borough Hall, and we're talking trash now, which is what I want to continue to do in my time as the sanitation chair, is to make sure that everyone in Brooklyn starts talking trash. And that's what we're doing today on Earth Day. And it's important that we see the work that we can do when a community comes together with a small group of people with big ideas, can really change the world. When we talk about bringing our sanitation department to the next generation or moving it forward, and bringing our recycling rates to a different level and really starting to move to evolve as a city, trash is very important. So I'm glad to be here supporting both Citizens Committee for NYC, the work that the Borough President is doing in championing trash here in New York City, and I will continue to talk trash, and of course, probably no one better than our Borough President to do it. But thank you so much for allowing this to happen today, and let's enjoy the day and continue to talk trash. Thank you.
I just think it's so important to highlight how important it is to have Antonio as the chair. You know, the councilman is really at a pivotal point in New York City's history. There has been a lot of conversation about how do we turn waste into a renewable source. And now we're going to see the conversation move into implementation. He brings the ideas, he brings the energy, he understands how important it is, and the more and more we have just a very young, vibrant, compassionate leader at the City Council around such an important issue of what are we going to do with the waste in this city. And he has engaged himself in this dialogue, and he's on the front line. And I think that in the next 4 years, we're going to see some great things around how do we handle our waste and how we manage waste. And so we're excited about his chairmanship in charge of sanitation. So I want to now introduce the bearded one, Ken Diamondstone, and he is one of the co-chairs of SWAB. And I'll have him say a few words for us. Ken?
Mr. Borough President, Diana, Peter, Antonio, this I think is a wonderful day for Brooklyn and for the Solid Waste Advisory Board. I want to say a bit about composting. Composting and community gardening is often a way of life. It's a way on a very personal and local level to reduce greenhouse gases, to educate kids, to grow local food, plant beautiful flowers, and most certainly not least, to have fun. But more fundamentally, composting is a way of expressing a commitment to preserve, to say no to polluters, to say that we need to to say that what we used to call food waste and yard waste is in fact an important natural resource never to waste. So today we have a special reason to celebrate. The Citizens Committee for New York City has generously provided community gardeners and composters of Brooklyn a way to support their efforts with this grant program. It will pay for the much needed equipment and for many dedicated organizations and their volunteers. So on behalf of the Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board, which has been invited to help advance this grant program, Chairs Nancy Walby and I and the Composting Committee. Thank you, Executive Director Peter Kosmeyer, Sabine, who I don't think is here today, and the wonderful staff of the Citizens Committee for New York City. So we also thank you, Borough President Adams. You and your staff, especially Andrew Bernardis, have worked with the Citizens Committee to make this grant a reality. Borough President Adams, you have also taken the leadership to make environmental sustainability and a greener Brooklyn a major focus of your administration, and you seem determined to engage Brooklynites in this important effort. Bravo. One of the earliest, consistent, unrelenting advocates and practitioners of composting in New York City is Christine Datz-Romero, founder and executive director of the Lower East Side Ecology Center. Christine, I doubt this event would have been possible without your years of effort to reclaim organic materials we once tossed into landfills. So now I want to ask a favor of the Borough President.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you don't mind us making a pitch for an upcoming event.
Please do.
Okay, thanks. The Brooklyn Solid Waste Advisory Board and its Compost Committee invites everyone to a panel discussion on the future of composting here at Borough Hall this Friday at 10 a.m. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and we would love to participate in that. And we're also doing a swap recycling textiles here at Borough Hall, where it has grown in popularity. Instead of discarding those items you have in your home, where people are allowed to swap them in exchange. So it is the creativity that's needed of how do we discard those things that we no longer utilize in our home, our job place, and in our everyday lives, and we will continue to find creative ways to do so. And so I want to thank everyone, and I just really want to emphasize how simple it is when you look at, you know, all it takes is a rake, a shovel, a wagon, and simple tools that you can purchase anywhere, that you can be involved in how do you go about making our globe a sustainable place. Far too often, people believe that it's a complicated process when it's not. You can get your hands dirty to do something clean for Mother Earth. And that's what we want to focus on. Everyday people, composting can provide a sustainable future for the Borough of Brooklyn. And we want to thank the Citizen Committee for allowing us to assist people in doing so. Thank you very much.